Sure. I
or too
haven't really
soon?
told hardly not many people. But if anybody's watched this far into the video, then they deserve to know. So yeah, so a colleague had this idea to write a linear algebra book
Oh,
together.
let's go. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a yeah, and then he had some good ideas. And of some very good ideas. And he knows a lot of the applied side of linear algebra, which I do not know.
Is he
Um,
also a mathematician by training or like a pure
he
mathematician?
he's a pure mathematician by training, but he just has sided towards the applied side of math. Um,
Ah,
so he knows a
ah,
lot about how um, how physicists and engineers use linear algebra,
that's
and
great. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so he'd be a very good partner for this because today linear algebra is obviously very important and has many
So everyone, yeah.
applications. Yeah, in computer learning and AI and everything, but also has interesting applications in physics and engineering, and he knows a lot of that stuff. So I wrote the first 5 chapters and a first draft of them, which was very pure stuff. Um, and now we're going to get sort of, and then he'll add some applied stuff along the way, but then also some of the later chapters will be more on the applied side, numerical analysis and these sorts of things. So I think it's going to be a really good balance between the pure and applied. And he's a very good educator too, so it's going to be good. So yeah, that's the project. Uh, I write pretty fast. He takes his time, which is obviously perfectly fine. I'm more practiced with it. So I think he's just getting going on his. He started this summer, so it'll probably be at least another year before, probably a year and a half before it's out. Um, so it's sort of a higher level linear algebra class. At my institution, this higher level one's only taught in the fall semesters. So I'm
Mhm.
teaching it this fall, and I'll use the stuff that we have so far, and that'll help us, improve it. And then he'll teach it the following fall in 2027, and then at the end of that is the plan. We'll publish it after that.
This is great. And you plan on publishing it as a long form, like under the long form series.
That's the idea. That's the plan.
Great. So it'll be affordable as well for students.
Absolutely.
So is the level like I've done? Have you heard of the textbook in Self Rydberg's Spence Linear Algebra and its Applications? Like a
Um,
proof-based linear algebra book.
yeah, it's a proof
It's pretty
based. Yeah.
popular. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, vector spaces and
It's
linear functions and all those
yeah,
spaces,
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
operators,
dual
and
spaces, of course, of course. So and it has rigorous proofs and everything. Is
exactly.
your textbook meant for students who've done proof-based linear algebra, or is it who've done calculus or computational linear algebra and then want to switch?
Yeah. So if they've done, so like we will introduce Gaussian elimination, for example, briefly. So if they've taken a
Hmm.
previous linear algebra course that's more on like the computational side with matrices and stuff, that would be a little bit of a help, but it's not necessary. We don't assume it. But that's definitely not our focus. Our focus is on the theory behind it. Um, Yeah, and yeah, so I think if you're like a strong student, this could be their first linear algebra class, but a typical student, I think for a lot of American universities at least, it this would be like sort of like a second course in linear algebra.
I see. So at the level of Axler, I think that's a popular
Yeah,
book, linear
Axler would
algebra
be a
and linear.
good, yeah, Axler would be a
There is
good
some.
comparison text. Yeah,
Okay.
Axler doesn't have hardly any of the applied side that we will have, and we'll do some things differently, certainly than him, but that's roughly the level. Right.
Last question of this podcast. Are there any, I mean, we kind of hinted at this. Are there any projects you're really looking forward to, projects you're working on? Textbook is one thing. Stuff you want to work on in the future that you're really excited about, that you have planned.
Yeah, so yeah, in terms I have big plans for writing. I mean, I so obviously the main thing I'm thinking about is writing. Um and I mean I so the big plan is to write all of the math subjects. I mean,
The
you
undergrad
know,
subjects, you mean?
I'm sorry.
You mean the undergrad subjects at least?
At least those, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Obviously I don't know how many. It depends on how many working years I have, but I mean, if and there's also this big mystery of AI and how that's going to affect all sorts of things in education and math and writing. Like these are I'm sort of working at the intersection of these three things, and each of those could be affected in interesting ways by AI. So who knows? That's a big mystery. But yeah, I enjoy the writing. I love it. It's fun for me. So um, yeah, all the I start with the undergrad topics, and I plan to just sort of go through them. I have a tentative ordering in my head, but it's very tentative. It could change at any moment. Um, and yeah, I think next one will be linear algebra. And then, but I'm working with this other person, so while he's sort of taking his turn working on it, we'll probably kind of take turns. So maybe I'll start working on something else even. But yeah, a bunch of projects lined up for that. I uh, I also like thinking about how math applies to the real world in interesting ways. And in fact, the first time I ever was like actually working on writing math, I was in grad school, and there was this spring semester, winter, spring, early summer of my second year. I was I got really interested in this stuff, and I bought like a bunch of books. I did a bunch of reading, and I started writing. I started like actually writing a book called Math in the Real World, and it's never seen the light of day. And it was only half half done, maybe more than half. I don't know. But if I go back and look at it, who knows? Maybe I'll be like, oh, this is all trash. But or maybe it's going to be like a good place to begin. I don't know. But I hope to at some point return to that project because I really enjoy it. In fact, I teach this math class almost every semester for it's a math class for non-math majors. Um,
Hmm.
and I mostly just teach how math applies to the real world in interesting ways. So we'll talk about how math applies to sports and elections and crime fighting and all sorts of different things like this. And it's great. I really enjoy it. So I think that would also be a fun book to write. But who knows? We'll see where that leads. But um, and maybe some other math history type stuff. That's sort of like we discussed. I have this big appendix of all these biographies, sort of adding to this in some ways, creating a book of of bios of mathematicians. That kind of book's been done a number of times, so who knows what the market is for it, um, but who cares? If I like it, I might just do it anyways. And mine
Hmm.
would be a little different too. So yeah, maybe something like that as well. So I don't know. Who knows? The future is a little uncertain, but as of now, I plan to keep writing for decades to come.
That's really nice to hear. Like, so eventually there might be a day where an entire undergraduate math degree would have a long form textbook with a corresponding subject.
That would be the dream. We'll see if the dream comes true.
I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. I've really enjoyed talking to Professor. And if you want to check out his work, his books, his social media account, if you want to get in touch with him, I've left some couple of links in the description. His email, his social media, his YouTube, his links to his textbooks. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed.